what digital fashion is?
No.
No, I'm unaware.
Digital fashion? No.
No.
Is it like, I don't know, like design and fashion on like the internet?
Buying things online.
Social, like Instagram, influencers.
Yeah, social media, that sort of thing.
I don't know.
Digital fashion will allow us to cut down the waste that we create massively. We're going to be able to only produce what people want. We're going to be able to see how we look in things before we buy them or before they're even made.
So my name is Kerry Murphy. I am the founder of the Fabricant. It's a digital fashion house, meaning that we only ever design clothing digitally, and we have absolutely no interest in making physical clothing because we don't believe that all of these sustainability initiatives that exist are enough to actually create the impact in the world that we need. What is the true value of digital fashion versus physical fashion? You get to, be way more creative. You get to put on clothing on yourself that you can't put in your physical lives. You get to create your virtual identity. You can connect to brands in new ways. You can experience it in new ways. So if you think about the retail industry as an experience, going into Selfridges to try on some luxury brands, that's an experience that doesn't speak to me. So this is our attempt, at least my attempt, to create that experience where you can actually come in there and be more engaged.
So I'm Patrick McDowell. I'm a sustainable fashion designer based in London from Liverpool, and I work in system change. So the fashion industry has a huge impact on the planet. The planet cannot sustain how fashion is treating it, because at the moment we're guessing what people want, and they're working in a business model that was designed in the 1800s. We're putting things into stores in the hope that they'll buy them, and then we're putting them on sale. And all of that is so stupid. It doesn't make any common sense. The world's going through incredible pressure at the moment, and we're seeing viruses popping up. We're having to self-isolate. We're going to have to be living inside a lot more now. So the idea that we could still express ourselves through new clothes that were digital is super exciting.
Now, how do you enable people to wear digital clothing? Well, first of all, they need a digital body. They need some type of virtual twin of themselves to actually put the digital clothing on themselves. But you can be, a woman, you can be a man, you can be an androgynous body. So we talk about, gender fluidity and body positivity. We talk about a lot of different things, and we want to enable this in the virtual space, because what is the true value of living in the virtual space? It's the value of actually being able to do stuff that we can't do in the physical space. Digital fashion is the answer for, let's say, the demand that exists to be able to create our virtual identities, starting with social media, Instagram pictures.
What you see on social media is exactly what you want people to see. So I'm Amara. I try not to refer to myself as an influencer. I think it's become sort of a bit of a cringe term now, but at the same time, I think every post is effectively an influence if you have a certain number of followers. I think the really strange thing about Instagram, for example, is that you can influence so many people in a second just by uploading one photograph. A big part of expressing yourself is what you wear. As much as people sometimes like to say that they're not very engaged with fashion, everyone is, because everyone wears clothes. So what you decide to wear does say a lot about you and your personality. I have in the past found myself sort of buying clothes for the purpose of a photo on Instagram, whereas if I had, the digital technology, then that wouldn't be an issue. I wouldn't be consuming anymore. It would just be displayed in a photo, which is a very strange idea, a piece of clothing that isn't actually there. I'm not sure how it can fit into anything other than social media. I think that's probably one of the drawbacks. I can't walk into an event or, a night out and be wearing digital fashion because it isn't there.
There is that trend where, people are basically ordering clothes just for that Instagram picture and sending them back, and that returns is a massive sustainability issue. But it's not scalable, right? Like if you are to dress somebody's image, it still takes time and it takes craftsmanship to do that, to make it look very, very nice. It's total sense to be able to do that. Now, how do we enable that? How do we make sure that experience becomes something that's affordable, something that's fast? You know what people always want? They want things cheap, they want it fast, and they want it in best quality possible. And that's essentially what our Lila platform is. We just happened to have a $9,500 value for that dress. And it was the first of a kind, first digital only dress on the blockchain. We believe this is the Mona Lisa of the future. 500 years from now, somebody will be the owner of the iridescent dress, much later, we will perish and die eventually, but the dress is forever, right?
My name is Stefanos Konstantinou, and I work for a global media company, and I'm based in Amsterdam. I think it's a very interesting question when you just say, how did it feel? Because it didn't really feel anything having no clothes. It was a bit weird, to be honest, because I was, of course, wearing my own clothes underneath, and I just had to wait a couple of hours, if not a day, before I received the digital photo. I am not an influencer. I don't have much following. I just posted it for my friends. And it ended up being picked up by press. I know it's just a picture, and that's why the struggle I have with digital fashion is that it's not scalable. There's not a strategy yet of how we can use this in the long term. Of course, now in the COVID era, it kind of serves the purpose and we can use it more. But I hope we're not going to stay at home for the rest of our lives. So we'll have to go out and of course wear clothes.
I think within 2 years, we will be starting to be a profitable company selling digital only clothing, if not sooner. But we're going to start seeing nothing but digital fashion shows, digital fashion events, digital fashion catwalks. It's a shame that we needed a pandemic to create such an accelerated change, but not only the fashion industry, but many other industries are, of course, starting to see how do we eliminate the broken system, and how do we create a system that actually works for everybody.
Do you think it's something you would ever try out?
I mean, potentially, maybe in the future if things change, but I also really like having the physical garms.
I probably would, yeah, definitely, yeah.
No, I like I still, even now, won't really online shop. I'll go into a shop Because once you're actually faced with the garment itself, it might change what you think of it.
It's not such a crazy thing when you think about it in its essence, but for a lot of people, you know, this can kind of compute. It's like, what, digital clothing? How do I wear it? How does it keep me warm? Well, it's not the same context, you know, you use it in a different context, but the idea of the identity is still there. You know, it's still something that you're using to create your identity, but just in your virtual layer of existence. They're not two separate things. They're an extension of our identity, and that's only going to keep growing.
How long do you think it will be around for?
Well, I think digital fashion will be around for as long as the internet is around, and unless we run out of power and we all have to go back to cooking with fires and living with candles, then we're going to have digital fashion.